Ningi, I'm coming via Order 42. By the leave of the Senate President, I will read. And the order says, by the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the Senate President, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there will be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in details to the President of the Senate when he is leave to make it a thought. Mr. President?
Yes, proceed.
You recall from Monday last week out to the weekend.
Yes, it's my own.
There has been a ravaging social media report on a purported report that the Committee on Constitutional Review has penciled and proposed 12 states to be created. And therefore, the committee is submitting its report to the Senate. Mr. President, I'm a member of the Constitutional Review Committee. I'm equally a member that attended the zonal conference, the zonal constitutional conference committee in Maiduguri. First, our report from the zonal perspective has not been submitted to the main Constitutional Review Committee, and I've also asked other zonal leaders. Reports have not been tabled, nor submitted to the main committee. It is therefore imperative that the social media report that the National Assembly has penciled 12 states is fake, is toxic, and is an irresponsible media outlet. So it is important, Mr. President, to take this matter to Nigerians, that the Senate has not, for now, sat on any committee's report from the zonal levels. The main committee is yet to even received nor evaluate any report. As a member of the review committee, Constitutional Review, we have not. The chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee is sat there, the Deputy Senate President. He has also said there was no meeting. So it is important to tell Nigerians to be aware of fake reports, especially tarnishing the image of this hollow chamber. I so submit, Mr. President.
Well, the Senator Nengi came under Order 40.
Lead debate on the National Safety, Security, and Violence-Free Schools Bill 2025 SB 772. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, it is my pleasure to lead the debate on the general principles of this very important bill before us today for deliberations on its merits for possible enactment as an act of the National Assembly. The bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Thursday, 15th May 2025. This bill seeks to establish the National Commission for Environmental, Social, Safety, Security, and Violence-Free Schools to implement the Safe School Initiative of the federal government, designed to create a safe and secure learning environment for students, teachers, and staff. The goal is to prevent violence, bullying, and other safety concerns that can impact the well-being and academic success of students. The key objectives of the bill are as follows. 1, safe learning environment. To provide safe learning environment for students to learn without fear of violence, harm, and abuse. 2, improved academic performance. To provide conducive atmosphere for learning, thereby contributing to improved academic performance and well-being of students. 3, environmental safety. To ensure that schools are free from environmental hazards, such as pollution, poor sanitation, and inadequate infrastructure. 4, safety and security measures, to implement measures to prevent and respond to safety and security threats, such as bullying, violence, and natural disasters, in order to promote more positive and supportive school culture. 5, social safety, to promote the culture of respect, inclusivity, and empathy, where students feel safe and supported. 6, violence-free schools, to create a zero-tolerance environment for violence, abuse, and exploitation in our schools. And 7, policy development, to develop and implement policies, guidelines, and standards for safe and secure schools. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, it is no longer news that in recent times, our schools have become plagued with series of reported cases of insecurity where students had been kidnapped, raped, abused, and exploited. And this development has instilled fear in the hearts of both learners and teachers, as the school environments are no longer safe for them. Therefore, the enactment of this bill into law will be a bold and courageous legislative step that will not only guarantee security in our schools across the country, but would also improve academic performance of the learners. As such, I urge you, my dear colleagues, to support the expeditious passage of this bill. Finally, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, in compliance with Order 76 of 3 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, a compendium of the financial implications for the establishment of the proposed commission is hereby attached. I thank you all for listening.
Chief Whip.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished senators, what this bill merely seeks to achieve is to give legal teeth and backing for the safe school initiative that is hitherto in place through executive fiat. So what this bill seeks to do is to give legal backing to that initiative so that it can not only back, but bite in the discharge of that statutory mandate, if eventually passed by these hollow chambers. And I think the philosophical cornerstone behind this bill is against the backdrop of avalanche of various security breaches in our schools across the nooks and crannies of this country. Famous among them is the unfortunate abduction of the Chibok school girls, of which quite a number of them are unaccounted for now, and other series of security breaches of similar nature across the nooks and crannies of this country. So against this background, I calling upon my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill without much ado and with the speed of light. Thank you.
Is there anyone against this bill? Okay, those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes of it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, our bill asks to establish the National Commission for Schools, Environmental and Social Safeguarding Initiative of the federal government and provide a legal framework for the protection of students, infrastructures, and other amenities from attacks and for related matters 2025, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish National Commission for Schools, Environmental and Social Safeguarding to implement the national policy on safe school initiative of the federal government and provide a legal framework for the protection of students, infrastructure, and other amenities from attacks, and for other related matters 2025, second reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matter to report within 4 weeks. Well, let me commend the sponsors of this bill, the leader of the Senate and Senator Ali, Jia, because this is a bill that is very important in respect to safeguarding our schools, the education infrastructure that we spend our hard-earned money to build, and also safeguard the students, because we've seen what happened in the Chibok girls episode where students were kidnapped by insurgents and they were taken. And some are yet to even come back, to be brought back to their families. And I think this initiative will provide that protection that is needed to safeguard our students and also our educational infrastructure. We commend you for sponsoring these bills. Leader of the Senate. A bill for now to amend the Nigerian Export-Import Bank Act Cap 10N106 LFN 2004 to position the bank to be more effective in the discharge of its responsibilities, and for other related matters 2025, second reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions report within 4 weeks. Let me commend the committee. Well, the committee, sponsor this bill, and it's going back to you. Well, we commend you for being proactive and working in tandem with our developmental needs. It's quite commendable what you are doing because you have set an agenda to reposition our economy, which is good. And the fact that you look at this bank is something that you should be particularly commended for, because we need to support this bank as long as we are really serious about diversifying our export-import regime. Because if this bank is not strong, that support needed to be given to entities that are involved in these kind of businesses will not really have somewhere to assist them, entity to assist them. So by recapitalizing this entity, by repositioning its governance structure, by moving it from Minister of Finance to Minister of Trade and Industry, is something that you need to be commended for. And thank you very much, and more grace to your elbows. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, all the members, for doing a good job and making the Senate proud. Leader of Senate.
On the bills. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, lead debate on bills for concurrence from the House of Representatives. Number 1, Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment of Nigeria Bill 2025, HB 416. The second bill for concurrence, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Engineering, Science, Technology and Innovation Establishment Bill 2025, HB 1166. And the third bill is the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment Bill 2025, HB 868. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on these important bills. The Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment of Nigeria Bill 2025 HB 416 was read for the first time today. This bill repeals the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers Act, Cap C9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enacts the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments of Nigeria Act 2023, to regulate and control the professional practice in the securities and investment business in Nigeria. The Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Engineering, Science, Technology, and Innovation Establishment Bill 2025, SB 1167, was read for the first time on Tuesday, 20th May 2025. The bill seeks to establish the Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Engineering, Science, Technology, and Innovation to cater for robust implementation of the Nigeria First Policy and Presidential Executive Order number 5 for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, innovation, structures for monitoring, evaluating, compliance, and its council, and for other related matters. The National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment Bill 2025, HB 868, was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, 20th May 2025. This bill seeks to establish the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment, Kano State, to provide treatment and research for cardiovascular cases. Mr. President and respected colleagues, these bills are straightforward and have gone through the necessary legislative process in the House of Representatives. I therefore urge you all to support the second reading of these bills as we refer them to the Committee of the Whole for clause-by-clause consideration. I thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues.
Well, I don't think there's a move so that we resolve to the Committee of the Whole. Or for the second reading? Move for the second reading, please.
President.
Train, certify, discipline its members, promote and advance the practice of securities and investment profession, and for related matters, 2025, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I beg for an act to establish the Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Engineering, Science, Technology, and Innovation, NOPSITEX, for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, innovation, structures for monitoring, evaluating compliance, and its council, and for other related matters, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I beg for an act to establish the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment, Kano State, to provide treatment and research for cardiovascular cases and for related matters, second reading.
A bill for the Act to repeal the Charter Institute of Stockbrokers, Act Cap C9 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment Act 2024 to set standards of knowledge, ethical conduct, and practice, train, certify, discipline its members, promote and advance the practice of securities and investment profession, and for related matters 2025, HB 416, second reading taken and passed. B, a bill for now to establish the Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Engineering, Science, Technology, and Innovation for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, innovation, structures for monitoring, evaluating compliance and its council, and for other related matters 2025, HB 1167, second reading taken. A bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment, Kano State, to provide treatment and research for cardiovascular cases and for related matters, HB 868, second reading taken. To the Committee of the Whole to consider these bills.
Thank you, Mr.
Reports. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments of Nigerian Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Law title as recommended. Number of clauses, clause 1 to 21 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 22 as recommended. Short title, clause 23 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. This is a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole. Report number 2. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, and innovation, Establishment Bill 2025, and approved as follows. Long titles as recommended. Number of clauses, clause 1 to 34 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 35 as recommended. Short title, clause 36 as recommended. Schedules 1 to 2 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and Treatment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses, clause 1 to 21 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 22 as recommended. Short title, clause 23 as recommended. Schedule 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Leader of the Senate. A bill for an act to repeal the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Act Cap 69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and now the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment Act, 2024, to set standards of knowledge, ethical conduct, and practice, train, certify, discipline its members, promote and advance the practice of securities and investment profession, and for related matters 2025, HB 416, third reading, taken and passed. 2. A bill for an act to establish the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, and innovation for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in programs, contracts, engineering, science, technology, innovation, structures for monitoring, evaluating, compliance and its counsel, and for other related matters 2025, HB 116, third reading, taken and passed. A bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Cardiovascular Disease Research and treatment. Kano State to provide treatment and research for cardiovascular cases and for related matters HB-868 terrorism taken and passed. Leader of the Senate. Thank you, Leader, for bringing this concurrence bill for us to deal with. Now you can see we are responding to bills that are brought here for concurrence. We have up our game in respect to that request. So that's very good. Thank you, Leader, for doing that. We have always done so. It's an impetus. We added more speed to that, which is good.
My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Center of Bauchi State. Mr. President, I listened to the committee presentation, and I listened to Senator Olamilekong, the chairman of appropriation. First and foremost, Mr. President, this has to do with our collective inheritance. This is a loan that my generation and generation yet unborn will be saddled to payment or to paying. Yes, this is a proposed payment plan, borrowing plan, but in this document, there is no indication of how these loans will be paid. That is one. Secondly, if you look at the committee's report, on page 3, number 1, that the loan shall specify the purpose of which the borrowing is intended, which shall only be a long-term capital expenditure and human capital development. Going further on page 8, Mr. President, you will now take number 5 under the table. Most NDAs are unable to implement their capital projects effectively due to long delays in funding disbursement. The loans will go a long way to addressing this challenge. Inclusion of this project in the National External Borrowing Plan will enable financial closure and timely implementation. This is not specified. Which MDS and how much does each one cost? Open page 9. Number 8. Part of the loans will be used to fund priority projects such as railways, security, agriculture, power plants, housing, and digital connectivity to boost production. Mr. President, this needs specification. How much goes to in each? And therefore, go to page 10.
Leader, you have 1 minute remaining.
Go to page 10, Mr. President, with all due respect. The committee further notes that 12 states of Abia, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna, Katsina, Lagos, Niger, Oyo, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zapara will benefit. These states will benefit how much? What is the demarcation? Finally, sir. Finally, Mr. President, take a look at our Constitution. Section 81, Section 82, Section 83, and Section 84. Mr. President, if you allow me another 1 minute, I will read these provisions. What am I saying? I understand the work put in by the committee, but I don't think the committee has done a job good enough for the presentation of this chamber. We all represent constituencies. We need to go home and say, this is how these monies, when borrowed, will impact in either security, what amount in agriculture. When it comes to states, let's know how much goes into this state. But here, Mr. President, most of the provisions...
With all due respect, former leader, your time is off. You've spoken for that 3-4 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's okay, Mr. President. I thank you for the audience.
Thank you. You know, I gave you three.
Mesani Musa. First, we will want to commend the committee for doing a very good job. Because most of the jobs that we are doing, well, what we did in the committee level is just to process what has already been approved in the medium-term expenditure framework. If you look at the borrowings, we have approved it right from the time we passed the MTEF, 2025 to 2027. So, and the borrowing plan is spread over a period of almost 6 years of disbursement and execution. It's not a borrowing for 2025 to fund budget, no. It's a borrowing that was spread over a period of 6 years, cut across so many sectors: technology, agriculture, health, security, railways, infrastructure. And we have also, while we were working, there is complete breakdown of every of the loan. Even those from the subnationals were captured. And Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, there is no economy that advances without borrowing. And what we are borrowing in Nigeria today, compared to what we have and the prospects of what we have, especially with the tax reform that we have come up with, you will see that even as we are today, we have not defaulted one single time in our repayments. When he is talking about repayment plan, the repayment plan, especially from loans from multilateral, bilateral, or development partners, what they looked at is the revenue ratio to your GDP. And when they compare and they see that, yes, you are doing good and you have not defaulted, your rating still stands. So why should we not take this money to help Nigeria in many of the challenges that we're having, especially in food security, in security itself, and in our infrastructures, and everything is captured in this loan. So I believe that what the committee has done and what, with the wisdom of Mr. President, this is the best that we can do at this period.
Thank you for the wonderful
interventions the government proposed. But most interestingly to me, Mr. President, for the first time, I have seen an elaborate provision made for money to be borrowed to build the Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. A provision that was put in the budget, $3 billion. I didn't need to look at any other thing to support this borrowing plan. Yes, because I've been on this chamber clamoring through motions that Eastern Rail Line corridor from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri should be reconstructed. Now, $3 billion have been provided for it. So this accords to the needs and desires of people who use that rail line. Among other things that I saw, the repayment plan, some of them have 20 to 35 years. It's not something that you borrow today and pay back tomorrow. So it gives the government the latitude to plan and they execute this necessary infrastructure for the benefit of all Nigerians. So on this note, Mr. President, I commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for heeding to the call for the construction of Eastern Rail Line. This is now the first time I'm seeing it provided for in the borrowing plan. So our people will be happy with it. I thank you very much.
So thank you very much. All have been said. Chairman Appropriation also made his comment. Everything is now open. And the good thing is that the South is no longer marginalized. It's no longer much. So the Renew Hope program is working. You are not carried along. So this is good. You see, all parts of this country is carried along in this report. So thank you very much. We now go to recommendation. Now recommendation. Based on above findings, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the President's request for capital raising up to $2 billion through the establishment of a foreign currency-dominated financial instrument issuance program in the domestic debt market by the DMO toward the implementation of the Presidential Executive Order number 16 of 2023. Those in favor of the recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, members of this committee, and especially the chairman, for a job well done. You have done this Senate proud by producing a report that is very, very clear, straightforward, and quite, showing what the government is doing to bring prosperity to our nation. We can't thank you enough. I want to urge you that you continue the good work you are doing for the Senate and indeed the entire country. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Leader of the Senate.
Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benin-Kruku, Establishment Bill 2025, SB 847. Those in support that the long title on page 1 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 2 to 7 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 8 to 15 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 16 to 18, including the interpretation clause, form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the short title on clause 9, 19 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The explanatory memorandum on page 19. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. President sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate now reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report. I so move.
The two motions moved by the Senate leader, that one we extend our time beyond.
One is for enable us to extend time beyond 3 p.m. to continue the business of the day, and the second is for us to revert to plenary for the chairman to report progress. Those in support of the two motions say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benin-Kruku, Establishment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 17 as recommended. Interpretation clause on clause 18 as recommended. Short title on clause 19 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. May wish to move that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move that the bill be now, the bill be now read for the third time. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to
This bill be now read a third time. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benin-Krukru, Delta State, to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and exploration, and for related matters 2025, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital in Benin-Krukru, Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State, to provide comprehensive medical services to workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as to communities affected by oil and gas operations and for related matters 2025. Bill taken for the third time. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital in Benin-Krukru, Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State, to provide comprehensive medical services to workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as to communities affected by oil and gas operations and for related matters, third reading taken and passed. So I want to thank distinguished Senator Banigu and members of the committee that worked on this, and to congratulate the good people of Benin-Krukru in Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State for this comprehensive medical center that will cater for those suffering, that will cater for those in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities adjoining the hospital premises. And pray that this will lead to a healthier society, a much more convenient and health-wise environment, and also thank our distinguished colleagues for their contributions up to this stage of the bill. I thank you all for your contributions, and may God bless the good people of Warri, the good people of Delta State, and Nigeria as a whole for this initiative. Point of order, Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
For bringing this motion, and thank all those who have contributed, and use this opportunity to also condole with the Dantata family. Hello? I use this opportunity to condole with the Dantata family, and by extension, the relations, the nephews, one of whom is Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa. So it's been a family of wealth, and they've touched lives. They've given food to thousands of people. Like stated, he was an international man, and a very rare honor for a person to die and be accepted to be buried in Saudi Arabia, the homeland of the Holy Prophet. And I think this is something Nigerians should be very proud of, that even in death, he was still an ambassador. In life, he was a business titan. He was a philanthropist. He was a great ambassador of goodwill. And he helped so many educationally and religiously. And so today he's gone. We pray that Kano will produce more than Tatas in future, and Nigerians will have more of them in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country in order for people to care for others, and then the society will be better for it. So I join my colleagues to condole the family and also pray for the repose of the soul of Alhaji Dantata. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And as you say, Ajana Fidao. Am I right? Ajana Fidao. So let us go into the prayers. Prayer 1, observe a minute silence in his honor. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, send a delegation to condole with the family and the government of the people and people of Kano State. Those in support of prayer 2, that may have to be amended because Mr. President had done so. Or it has been done. I was there in Kano. Yes, and the Deputy Senate President was there. In fact, even the President was also there. Okay, so, those in support that we step down prayer 2, since this has been done, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal government to immortalize him by naming a national monument after him. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So may we now rise for 1 minute silence in honor of the departed Alhaji Dantata. May the soul of Alhaji Dantata and the soul of all faithful departed be granted a Jannah Fidao by Almighty Allah. Amen.